That is some great, delicious California tap water. Plenty of fluoride to go along with my shower. Not only do I get the fluoride on my skin and the phytoestrogens to help destroy my natural male testosterone, but it helps my Gillette razor slide on my skin so much smoother. It leaves no bumps or anything. It's great. Jeremy here from the Weekly Narrative, and we're back to talk about, as you can see over here on the Supreme whiteboard, we're going to be talking about the Gillette ad that came out today. Now, the stream is a little late. I understand that because I had some technical difficulties on the YouTube end, but also because I wanted to try and gather some thoughts on the Gillette ad and try to present something more than simply, oh my God, Gillette is social justice warrior. Gillette hates men and this and that. And that's kind of what everyone else's reaction was. And I was spending some time watching a lot of other people and their reactions to this, and that's about the extent of the analysis. I wanted to talk about a couple things, maybe another layer deeper, and I think that's why a lot of you guys watch this channel. You come here because you want maybe another level deeper on the analysis. So I'm going to make this short and sweet. Gillette came out with an ad. I'm not going to play it. If you haven't seen it already, I'm going to summarize it real quick. It's essentially the social justice warriors pipe dream about masculinity is toxic, the repetitive narrative about how masculinity is toxic. And they went so far as to, they give you visual examples of, for example, a guy playfully grabbing a woman's butt, pinching her butt or something like that. A guy who looks like he's about to go follow a woman on the street and maybe start talking to her, like spark up a conversation with her. And he's stopped. He's a white guy, of course, because he's stopped by a black man who basically says, whoa, hey, we don't do that here in this society, man. And a bunch of other things. The last notable thing that I'll mention is they actually, and I didn't really care about the ad. I knew what to expect. I knew what it was going to be. I think we all kind of did once we heard and saw the first 10 seconds. But this one threw me. They have a clip in there of Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks talking about, I think it was Kavanaugh or something like that, about, sexual harassment. When Gillette is putting a clip from the Young Turks in their ad, things have gone quite far. So what's the surface level narrative of the ad? That is, masculinity is bad, right? Traditional masculinity, real masculinity, I'll say. Now, this trend of toxic masculinity has increased quite rapidly over the past few years, between maybe starting around 2012. And I want to point out a couple of statistics that should make you think, at least. Now, we keep saying toxic masculinity, this phrase, toxic masculinity, and masculinity is toxic. But in reality, if you think about it, you look at statistics, 43% of boys are actually raised by single moms. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. And when you also consider the fact that 78%, I know my marker is kind of dying, but this is 78% of teachers are female. So when kids go into school, they're surrounded by a female influence. When they're at home, half of them are surrounded by female influence. So around half the kids have, nearly half the kids have almost 100% female influence in their home and school life. And there was a study that came out, University of Copenhagen, I believe, last week, that said when VR is used to teach boys, they learn more effectively from a robot, a drone, and the girls learn more effectively from a girl teacher, a woman teacher. So when we say toxic masculinity is toxic, I think what we're really meaning to say is that toxic femininity is creating broken boys. Because who's raising the kids? Who's raising the boys? It's women. Women are the role models for boys. 43% of boys raised by single moms, 78% of teachers are female. Okay, so women are raising the boys. Statistics. Now, what did we learn a little bit deeper than that surface level? The surface level narrative was that masculinity is bad. That we've kind of heard that one before. Nothing new there. But what I'm thinking about from more of the business perspective, because that's kind of where my mind always goes, is now we've reached this point to where the social justice narrative is so prevalent that it's actually profitable now. So, 4 or 5 years ago, the idea of toxic masculinity was just some stupid word that was talked about in the cabals of after-school clubs, in colleges, for social justice clubs, LGBTQ clubs and whatever. It kind of creeped its way into philosophy and the liberal arts classes, right? Slowly over time, those students who were taught that agenda, they graduate, they go into the professional world, they get marketing jobs, and then they start to pump out this baloney. So you start to see diversity requirements and all these corporate environments, and that kind of just grows into essentially what you have here. This is now we're making ads that show clips of Anna Kasparian and the Young Turks advocating for toxic masculinity and basically saying that traditional male behavior is bad. So we're at the point now where the number of people who believe in that is large enough for an ad like this to be profitable. So somebody somewhere in Gillette, their marketing team, which is probably, like I said, a bunch of young kids who just graduated marketing with a marketing degree, which is, maybe worthless, maybe not, depending on where you go and what you want to do with it. If you want to go sell razors, probably worthless because somebody's probably going to get fired over this. So the social justice marketing team made this ad because they thought it was going to resonate with their audience, or they had some kind of market research available to tell them this is going to go over well. Like, they have some data available to them that's going to influence their decision on what this ad is going to do, how it's going to perform. They probably had 3 or 4 different versions of the ad made. Maybe there was one even worse than this. There could have been an ad, they do A/B testing and whatnot. There could have been an ad worse than this. We could have got the good version. This is the nice version of the ad. And now they put it out, and it's getting, 10-to-1 dislike to like ratio on YouTube because it's a short film. It's not really like a TV ad, although I think there is a 30-second version of it. So, yeah, politics is mainstream. And that's the second point. The reason all this is happening is because politics is now mainstream. That's the second big thing we can learn from this. Now, it's not escapable. There was a point to where maybe we weren't in the event horizon yet, but now we know for sure. When you're seeing people like Gillette and Unilever, who owns Ben & Jerry's ice cream, they come out with ads, or they come out with a product. The ice cream flavor is called Resist. It doesn't destroy their stock. I'm sure they're going to see a momentary drop in stock as the initial reaction to this comes out and then people are reacting to it. But it's not going to be a situation where it's going to devastate them long term. You know what I mean? So it's something that's part of the business world now. The politics, the social justice narrative, it's part of mainstream. So that's the second thing that we learned. And now I want to point out, I guess before I point out the main thing that everyone needs to realize from this is that this is only probably going to get worse until the purchasing demographic, what age group are they going for? If you look at the age of the people in that ad, you're thinking of probably 18 to 35 males, right? Well, obviously that's their target market for pretty much probably everything because they sell razors. When that target demographic isn't going to respond as well to this type of idea, maybe in 10 or 15 years or something like that, when this Generation Z or Generation I, whatever they're calling it, gets to the point to where they're actually growing facial hair and they need to shave, maybe this will die out. But for now, it is profitable because this is the environment that we live in. Okay, this is just like natural selection in the marketing world. That's really all this is. And finally, the last note that I want to point out, because a lot of guys are just thinking, oh, I'm going to throw my Gillette razors. I'm never going to buy Gillette again. Another thing you're forgetting is that the women are the primary purchasers. in the household. Okay, so if you're not like me and you don't live alone and you live with a wife or a girlfriend or whatever it is, chances are they are the one buying. And if they stumble across this ad on their Facebook or their Twitter feed or their Instagram or whatever social media ideological injection method they're using, that might influence them a little bit. They think, oh yeah, I got catcalled on my way to the store, and Gillette is against toxic masculinity. When they're looking at the razors, they might maybe watch the razor the Gillette's packagings now. See if see if they're gonna stray away from like the black, shiny, and dark colors. Maybe they're gonna go towards like the blue and pinks, maybe, or something like that. They're gonna start marketing to women. But yeah, just remember that, okay? Women are the primary purchasers, and the toxic masculinity that you're so up in arms about, it's most likely the result of boys being raised by toxic femininity. So